Hey guys, Chris from Hockey Tutorial here, and today I'm recording in Demon Extreme in Chelmsford, which is one of the best hockey stores in the area. And what we're going to be looking at is FBV, which is flat bottom V sharpening. We're going to be going over what it is, the advantages and disadvantages of it, and what we personally think of it and how effective it is. So what I've got behind me are the flat bottom machines. We're going to be showing you images of what they look like, how they work, and also, most importantly, telling you exactly what we think of their performance. So the main difference between flat bottom V and traditional sharpening is, of course, the shape of the blade. The easiest way for me to show you that is just by showing you the leaflets from BlackStone and Demon Extreme and showing you exactly what the shapes look like. So what we have over here are the two different skate sharpening methods. On my right hand side we have the traditional method, and on my left we have the FBV method. The traditional method over here, you can see that the blade is sharpened in an upside down U, and that upside down U can be sharpened at different depths. The deeper you go, the more of a bite you'll have on the ice, meaning you'll be more agile, you'll be able to take much sharper turns, but as a result of that, more of the blade digs into the ice, meaning that you'll lose your speed, and it also requires a lot more energy and power for you to push into strides. The other option is to get not so much of a deep hollow and have a nice shallow sharpen or a hollow, but what that means is that you'll be able to go very quickly on the ice as more of the blade rests on the surface of the ice without cutting into the ice, but your agility and tight turns will be affected. With the FBV method, they've eliminated the need to choose between either speed or agility, as you can see that the blade is sharpened in a V with a flat bottom, hence the name FBV. So what this means is that regardless of how deep a hollow you go, the blade still sits on the surface of the ice, giving you excellent speed and gliding, whereas these teeth, or these edges that you can see on the corner, they're referred to as teeth or fangs, dig into the ice, and that's what gives you your bite or your hold on the ice. So with FBV, you have the option to have great speed and great agility without sacrificing anything, and also your fatigue wouldn't be affected, so you wouldn't have to have a lot of the blade digging into the ice, which would be affecting your how much energy you put into each stride. So you'll be able to save on energy, you'll be able to keep your speed, and you'll also be able to have great agility, which makes this option much better than the older traditional way of sharpening skates. So after having taken a quick look at the differences between FBV and the older traditional way of sharpening, the main problem with the older traditional way is that as the blades cut into the shape of an upside down U, that means that you've always had to choose between either having great speed on the ice or having great agility. If you have a deep sharpen, it means that you'll be able to take very tight turns, but one of the major problems with that is because so much of the blade digs into the ice, your gliding and your speed is seriously affected. And it means that you also have to put in a lot more power and energy into each stride you take, which would lead to you getting a lot tired on the ice much quicker. The second problem with that is that if you go for a shallow sharpen, so something a bit more relaxed and not too deep, that means that you'll have great speed on the ice because less of the blade is digging into the ice, but as a result of that, because you don't have the blade digging into the ice, you can't take advantage of your agility and your tight turns. So you've always had to choose between either being able to go fast or being able to turn and have agility on the ice. But with FBV, they've eliminated the need to have to choose between these two differences. As the blade is sharpened in the shape of an upside down V with a flat bottom, hence the name flat bottom V, it means that the largest portion of the skate always sits on the surface of the ice, and you have these two teeth or fangs that dig into the ice, and that's what gives you your bite or your hold. So you can go very deep and still have a good portion of the blade sitting on the ice, so your speed isn't affected. You won't get fatigue because you're not having to put more energy and power into each stride, but you'll still be able to have the great speed that you want and also the great agility and tight turns that every hockey player desires. So we're going to take a look at the machines, take a closer look at how they work, and we're going to also cover the advantages and disadvantages of this new style of sharpening. And it's also important to mention that at the minute in the UK, it's only available at Demon Extreme in Chelmsford or Colchester. The links will be posted below if you'd like to find out where you can get that done, and you can also have your skates sent in if you live a bit far but you still want to try this new style of sharpening, which we definitely recommend out. So all of those links will be below, and we're going to take a further look at the advantages and disadvantages of FBV. So actually taking a look at the FBV machine itself, you can see that it doesn't look completely different when compared to the standard sharpeners, but the only difference is these balls over here, or these tops that you can see right there. Instead of having to use the wheel and the diamond coated blade to shape the wheel depending on how you'd like what sort of depth you want sharpened, with the FBV system you don't have to do any of that messing around. You literally just replace these heads, and the different heads sort of account for different sharpens or different depths, which you can see listed over here. So all of these different heads give you different depths on the skate's blade, so all you do if you want to change depth is just simply replace the head, which is a lot more effective it's a lot quicker and it's also a lot more efficient, because it means that you get the same sharpen every single time you get your skates done, because it's not somebody having to profile the sharpening wheel or sharpening head every single time you get your skates done. So this could be almost compared to your T-blades, because with the T-blades you buy the blades already sharpened, which means you get a universal or a standard and uniform sharpen every time. You don't have any problems with the blade feeling different or somebody doing a bad job of sharpening it with this. Of course you still do need somebody experienced in this area, but it's a simple case of just replacing the heads to get the different depths, and we absolutely love that about this, because you get the same effect every time. So earlier on today I had my skates sharpened at Demon Extreme, where I am at the minute, with the Fbv system. These are my EQ50s from Easton. I hopped along to across the road to Riverside Ice Rink in Chelmsford to test them out. Spent some time on the ice, and straight away the first thing I noticed is that, considering I got quite a deep sharpen, so traditionally the blades would have been digging into the ice a lot. The first thing I noticed with this sharpen is that the blade sat comfortably on top of the ice. It felt very light. I didn't have to put a lot of energy in, which meant that there'd be a lot less fatigue. And when I leaned into my turns to test them out for my tight turns, my quick starts and stops, the blade held the ice stronger and with more effectiveness than any other sharpen that I've ever tried. So in terms of how effective the Fbv system is, it's definitely a plus, and I definitely recommend it. So what we'd like to do in this part of the video is quickly go through the advantages and disadvantages of Fbv. We'll start out with a list, and then we'll go through the list in a bit more detail. At the top of that list, with the advantage side of it, you get improved speed and also gliding. Unlike the older method of sharpening your skates, where it was in an upside down U shape, having the new style of sharpening, which has the flat base, allows more of the blade to sit on the surface of the ice, which means that you don't have your blade digging into the ice, slowing you down while you're in your strides. And the gliding is also affected by that, because it has more of the portion of the blade sitting on the ice. You can glide a lot more freely, regardless of what hollow you decide to get, which is the most important part about the new style of sharpening. Also, your tight turns and your general agility is also widely improved, because the skate blade has a flat base with a new style of sharpening and two fangs that dig into the ice. We found that they hold the ice much better and more effectively than your old style of sharpening, improving your tight turns and also your agility, which is definitely something that any hockey player or skater would want to do. And from that, the last point is the fatigue. A problem with fatigue has been widespread throughout hockey. Even general skaters all suffer from this problem. If you decide to go for a deep depth or a sharp skate grind or sharpen, it means that a big portion of the blade is going to dig into the ice, which means you have to put more energy and power into each stride, which is going to get you tired very quickly. Because of the style and pattern of the way these skates are sharpened to with the Fbv system, a much bigger portion of the blade sits on the ice, and you only have a very small portion, or the teeth that they're referred to sometimes, and also they're referred to as fangs, and that's the only point that actually digs into the ice, which means that you can stay on top of the ice, so your gliding is unaffected, as in it won't be reduced regardless of what depth of a hollow you decide to get. And it means that you can also take advantage of your full tight turns and your agility because of those fangs that dig into the ice, which we've said hold the ice much more effectively when compared to the old and traditional method. So with anything, of course, there's advantages and disadvantages. So we're going to go over some of the disadvantages that we've found out ourselves after testing these new style of sharpening, and just let you know what we think. One of the points that we've come across quite a few times is that if you do happen to step on something in the ice rink that you shouldn't really be stepping on, like a bit of a stone that might have found its way into the padded flooring, and you do happen to lose the edge, you completely lose the edge. It's not the sort of case where you start to notice the edge going away and slipping away gradually. It's a case of when it's gone, it's gone. One of the other points is that with the Fbv system, this is a sports performance sort of add-on or additional add-on to your skates. It's not something standard, so it is a performance add-on, which means that it does require a bit more care. You can't just be as frivolous as you are with your normal skates, chucking them here and there. You do need to have these encased, have them protected, if you want to be able to maintain the performance side to it. So they do require a bit more care. And the other negative is a simple contribution of the two other negatives that we've explained earlier on in the video. It's pretty easy for you to lose the edge if you're not looking after the skates, and they do require a bit more care. It means that if you don't do these 2 points, then you're going to have to get them sharpened a bit more. In terms of the price, we're finding that in the UK the price is priced at £10 for Fbv sharpen, and in most ice rinks that I've been to myself, they charge £10 for a standard sharpen, so it's, in my opinion, a very good price, very cost effective, but it might be cheaper to get a traditional sharpen in some cases. But as I say, this is a performance add-on, and I would completely recommend it. So in terms of the price, £10 for a sharpen, and that's here at Demon Extreme. that seems completely reasonable to me. I'm completely happy to pay that. You just have to remember that you have to look after these skates, you have to look after the edge once it's been sharpened, as you don't want to lose it. So in terms of the advantages and disadvantages to Fbv, personally the advantages completely outweigh the disadvantages. After having used the system myself, I can completely vouch for it and say that it is something that you notice immediately after stepping on the ice if you're quite experienced and you're used to your traditional Sharpen. As soon as I put these on, the first thing I noticed is that the blade felt like it was just gliding on top of the ice. It felt like I didn't have an edge until I actually attempted to stop or lean into my turns, and I couldn't believe the amount of support and grip I was getting out of these skates. So I definitely recommend having this Sharpen done. The only points you need to keep in mind is just watch out. Make sure you look after the blade, make sure you're not walking around too much in the skates and surfaces that could be a bit dodgy. But besides that, it's definitely something that we'd recommend here at Hockey Tutorial. We'll have more images and a full written article in the video description. If you want to click on the link there, that'll take you to the website where you can get a full article about this subject. As I said, with any of the forms of sharpening you get done on your skates, you need to have somebody that knows what they're doing. If you have somebody that's inexperienced, then the effect or the result that you're going to get is not going to be to the quality that you should receive or would be expecting to receive. So just make sure that you're getting them done by somebody that knows exactly what they're doing, and we definitely recommend using the guys over here at Demon Extreme. They did a fantastic job on all of our boots, and we definitely recommend them. The link will be again in the video description if you'd like to get this done at this store. And if you want any other information about the system, or you have some questions or some feedback after you've perhaps experienced it yourself, feel free to drop a comment in the section below. As always guys, I hope this video was helpful for you and it answered some of the questions that you might have. As I said, once again, we would 100% recommend getting this done. It's a pretty cost-effective price. We were expecting it to be very expensive to get this Fbv done in the UK, but lo and behold, it works out the exact same price as a standard grind, so why not? Try it out. And as always guys, if you found this video helpful, be sure to rate, comment and subscribe for more videos. Also with BlackStone's Fbv sharpening, it's also very important to mention that this is extremely beneficial for figure skaters, as well as casual skaters, extreme skaters and also hockey skaters. So it's not something that's designated just for the hockey world. This system is incorporated to work with either figure skates, your just standard ice hockey skates, so it's important to mention that everybody can benefit from this. Don't forget guys, you can now find us on Twitter. The link will be down below in the video description. Be sure to follow us for the latest updates and videos and articles and also training aids. Take care till next time.